I was halfway through my lukewarm synth coffee, the kind that claimed to have real bean notes, even though it tasted like someone whispered the word coffee over a cup of warm water, when the universe decided to remind me I didn't get days off. The spaceport was unusually calm, only a few traders arguing about docking fees, a trio of engineers welding something that definitely wasn't regulation, and one kid trying to sell counterfeit star maps that all pointed to the same black hole. So of course that was the moment a woman with long, elegant ears strode toward me with the urgency of someone whose ship was actively on fire. I tried to pretend I didn't notice. I even rotated my chair by a strategic 30 degrees, the universal signal of "don't talk to me, I'm busy being tired." It didn't matter. She stopped right in front of me, inhaled sharply, and dropped to her knees so dramatically that my coffee nearly leapt out of my hand. "Please forgive me, warrior," she said, loud enough for the nearest cargo loader to turn its entire mechanical head toward us. I blinked at her. She blinked back. Her ears twitched like they were trying to perform semaphore. I considered several possibilities: mistaken identity, extortion attempt, or a prank show with very committed actors. "Forgive you for what?" I asked, because apparently I enjoy suffering. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again, then whispered, "I cannot say yet." Fantastic. A mysterious apology with no instructions. My day was going exactly as predicted by my horoscope. Unnecessary chaos. Avoid eye contact with strangers. I stood, trying to nudge her up discreetly before a crowd gathered, but she clung to my boot like I was the last escape pod on a doomed cruiser. "Please," she said, "allow me to explain somewhere private." "I don't go anywhere private with strangers who glue themselves to my foot," I muttered. "I'm not glued," she said, letting go immediately. "Only emotionally attached." That didn't make it better. I started walking, mostly to see if she'd follow. She did. Silently. Too silently. Her steps made no sound, like she'd disabled gravity just for herself. After a few minutes of this, I turned and asked, "Are you planning to trail me forever?" "If necessary," she said. "I owe you more than you yet understand. Can you at least explain the part where you shouted 'forgive me' in a public area? People thought I committed a war crime. Did you? That's not the point." She frowned thoughtfully, which made her ears dip forward like disappointed antennae. "Then the problem is smaller than I feared." I sighed and rubbed my forehead. "Look, what's your name?" "Lyrana of the Urundai." "And why me?" She hesitated again, then said, "Because the fate of your life is tied to a decision I once made." "What decision?" "A very big one." "How big?" "Universe-altering." "So medium." Her lips twitched, almost a smile, almost an admission that she understood humor but only used it under duress. Before I could press her further, a soft humming sound rose behind us. I turned to see a sleek, silver vessel descending toward the docking platform. It didn't use thrusters. It just drifted, like it convinced the air to kindly get out of its way. The sort of ship you only saw in scientific brochures labeled "theoretically possible someday." Lyrana straightened. "My ship is prepared. We must leave before the station authorities attempt to question me again." Again. The last time I attempted an apology, I caused a minor diplomatic incident. Minor meaning only 2 ambassadors fainted. Wonderful. I'm not getting on that ship. "You are," she said, pressing a small device against my wrist before I could react. My vision flickered. The platform shifted. When the world refocused, I was inside the ship's main cabin, sitting in a very comfortable chair that had absolutely no right to be that comfortable. "You kidnapped me," I said. "Temporarily," she corrected, "and only for clarification." "Clarification of what?" She took the pilot's seat, tapped glowing symbols across the console, and said, "The truth about what I did to your life, warrior. I ask for forgiveness, but first you must understand why I need it." The ship hummed, stars stretched, and we launched into hyperspace before I could protest. I threw my hands up. "Fine, but I want my coffee back when this is over." "Of course," she said. I replicated 4 cups in anticipation. I stared. I'm both angry and impressed. Her ears lifted proudly. That is progress. Hyperspace always looked dramatic in recruitment ads, all swirling colors and elegant distortions, like a cosmic ballet. In reality, it felt more like sitting inside a stretched rubber band while hoping the universe didn't decide to snap it. I gripped the armrests as the ship vibrated with an enthusiasm no machine should possess. Lyrana noticed, of course. "Do not be alarmed," she said. "The drive is simply warming up its emotional core." "It's what?" "Emotional core. It is designed to be more responsive if treated kindly." I stared at the console. "So if I insult it, will it throw us into a black hole out of spite?" "Most likely," she answered. "Please avoid doing so." "Wonderful. Kidnapped by someone whose ship needed therapy." I took a breath, forcing my nerves into some resemblance of calm. "All right, you promised an explanation. Start talking." She folded her long ears back, which I had learned meant she was gathering courage. "Years ago, during the war between my people and the Dominion, the Urundai scientists developed a temporal resonance shield. It was meant to protect our capital from annihilation. I was the one assigned to activate it." "Sounds important." It was, but there was a miscalculation. The shield did protect us, but its ripples extended beyond our system. It interfered with the timeline of several nearby sectors, including your own. I waited. "And that means, what exactly?" "Your life changed," she said softly. "Events that should have shaped you differently were altered. The battle that made you a decorated warrior was not originally yours to fight." I blinked. "You're telling me I wasn't supposed to save those colonists?" "You saved them brilliantly," she said quickly, as if worried about insulting me. However, in the original timeline, another squad responded first. The shield's temporal wave caused a shift in trajectories. Their ship malfunctioned, yours diverted, and you arrived instead. So I became who I am because your science project had a tantrum." She winced. "That is a simplified interpretation, but yes." I let that sink in. My life, the battles, the choices, the reputation, the nightmares, had all hinged on a cosmic accident caused by this long-eared woman who kept apologizing every 5 minutes. "You didn't do it on purpose," I said at last. "Why chase me across the galaxy like a dramatic guilt comet?" "Because your timeline suffered the greatest deviation, and because I saw what your life became. I felt responsible. I believed you deserved the truth." "You could have sent a message," I muttered. "A letter, a fruit basket, anything that didn't involve abducting me." "I attempted a message once," she said. "Your military intercepted it and assumed it was a coded threat." "What did it say?" "Please forgive me." "Yeah, that tracks." Before I could ask more, an alarm chimed. The ship displayed a hologram of 3 vessels closing rapidly behind us. Sleek shapes, sharp wings, the kind of ships that didn't show up to borrow sugar. "Friends of yours?" I asked. "Unfortunately," she said. "They are Urundai custodial enforcers. They believe the temporal incident must be erased entirely." "Erased how?" "By using the device again to restore the original timeline." I felt my stomach drop. "Restoring the timeline means erasing everything that happened since." "Exactly." She looked at me, guilt heavy in her eyes. "Which includes your current existence as you understand it." "Fantastic," I said. "So they want to fix your mistake by deleting me. Good to know I'm popular." "I will not allow them to harm you," she said fiercely. Her ears straightened, sharp with determination. "You have my word." The ship jolted as the pursuers opened fire. Shields flared blue, and I grabbed the nearest console out of pure instinct. "Do you at least have weapons?" "Yes," she said, pressing a sequence of symbols. The ship emitted a tiny pew. A single glowing bolt drifted out like a lazy firefly. "That's it," I shouted. "It is a pacifist-class vessel," she replied without shame. "We prefer to resolve conflict without violence." "They're shooting at us." "Yes." "It is very inconsiderate." Another volley shook us, systems flickered. I made a decision that would probably haunt me later. "Move aside," I said, grabbing the manual controls. "Do you know how to fly?" "Not legally," I answered. which did not inspire confidence, but there was no time to reconsider it. I spun the ship into a dive, letting hyperspace ripple around us like a storm. The enforcers fired again, but the shot streaked past, missing by a hair. Lyrana held onto the console with both hands, ears flapping from the momentum. "You are surprisingly skilled at evasive maneuvers." Surprisingly. I meant incredibly. I banked sharply, threading the ship through the turbulence of hyperspace lanes. The enforcers struggled to keep up, their sleek forms wobbling like angry wasps. "Where are we going?" I demanded. "There is a hidden archive at the edge of the Vareth cluster. It contains the original data from the temporal shield experiment. If we reach it, I can show you everything. And if we do, then you will be forcibly unexisted." "Right." Motivation noted. The ship shuddered as the engine strained, but the enforcers finally fell behind, swallowed by a wave of distorted space. When the alarms quieted, I exhaled slowly, my heart still pounding. Lyrana looked at me, relief washing over her features. "Thank you," she said softly. "You protected both of us." "Don't thank me yet," I said. "I still want answers, all of them." "And you shall have them," she promised. "At the archive you will see your true past." I leaned back, staring at the streaking stars. My true past. A life that should have been mine but wasn't. For a moment, fear twisted in my chest. Fear of what I would discover, fear of what it meant for who I was. Lyrana noticed, of course. She always noticed. "Warrior," she said gently, "no matter what the timeline once held, the person you are now is real." "Maybe," I said, "but I want to know who I was supposed to be. Then we will find out together." The ship sped onward, toward the edge of the cluster, toward the truth buried in forbidden archives, toward answers I wasn't sure I wanted but could no longer avoid. The archive floated above the Vareth cluster like someone had glued a cathedral to the vacuum and hoped no one asked why. Its exterior shimmered with shifting panels, rearranging themselves every few seconds as if the building were indecisive about its own architecture. Lyrana guided the ship toward a breach in the pattern, and for once, nothing shot at us, scanned us, or tried to vaporize us for existing. Honestly, that alone felt suspicious. Inside, the corridors curved in gentle spirals, humming faintly with stored data. The air tasted like ionized dust and ancient secrets, which was probably not an official measurement but close enough. Lyrana moved with purpose, her long ears responding to every echo. "The central chamber holds the original experiment files," she said. "Once we access them, I can show you the unaltered timeline." "Great," I said. "Let's go see the version of me who didn't get kidnapped by a guilt-ridden time meddler." "That is an unfair summary," she said. "Accurate, but unfair." We reached the chamber, a circular room with a suspended sphere of light at its center. Thousands of threads of energy branched from it, weaving into the walls like cosmic roots. Lyrana placed her hands on the interface. The sphere brightened and images began to form, fractured moments, branching paths, entire possibilities dancing like holographic ghosts. And then I saw him, me, the version of me that should have existed. He was different, younger, lighter somehow. He never fought the battle that marked me. He never carried the scars, the medals, the weight. He lived a quieter life, one free from the war's harshest edges. "This is who you would have been," Lyrana whispered. I expected anger, maybe grief. But what surprised me was the strange sense of recognition, like finding an old photograph of someone I used to be but couldn't return to. "He looks happier," I said. "He looks untested," she corrected gently. "Strength comes from challenge, and the man you are now has saved more lives than this version ever would have. You're trying to make me feel better. Is it working?" "A little." She gave a relieved exhale. "Good." The chamber dimmed suddenly, alarms pulsing red. 3 silhouettes appeared in the doorway, Urundai enforcers, armored and armed with devices that hummed ominously. "Lyrana of the Urundai," their leader announced. "You are hereby ordered to surrender the human and initiate the timeline restoration." "No," she said simply. "You endanger our future by interfering with his," he replied. The original timeline must be reinstated. I stepped forward before she could shield me. "Hold on," I said. "You're telling me you want to wipe out everything I've done, everyone I've saved, because you don't like the version of history we got?" "It is not personal," the enforcer said. "It's literally personal." Lyrana grabbed my wrist, pulling me behind the console. "They will activate the reset if they reach the core," she whispered. "We must disable it." "How?" "By overloading the temporal threads. Won't that break something important?" "Only the dangerous part," she said. Probably, strong probably, better than nothing." We sprinted to the sphere, the enforcers firing containment beams that narrowly missed us and sliced molten lines in the floor. Lyrana began pulling threads of energy from the sphere, weaving them into new patterns. The sphere pulsed wildly. "What are you doing?" I shouted. "Showing you the truth was never the end," she said. "The choice must be yours. Your life belongs to you, not to fate, not to me, not to anyone. So I get to choose which timeline stays." "Yes." My mind raced. The quiet life was tempting, peaceful, simpler, but it wasn't me, not anymore. The version in the sphere had never fought, never bled, never grown, and he had never met Lyrana. "I picked this life," I said. "The messy, chaotic one, the one where I know who I'm fighting for." Her ears lifted in relief, but the enforcers surged forward. "They will activate the device manually," she warned. "Then let's stop them." "How?" "By improvising heroically." I grabbed the nearest panel, an actual detachable interface, bless whatever engineer allowed that, and slammed it into the floor's energy node. Sparks flew. The chamber shook. The sphere flared brilliantly, flooding the room with white light. The enforcers stumbled back as the temporal core destabilized. Lyrana pulled me close, shielding me as the wave rippled outward and dissolved the reset device entirely. When the light faded, the enforcers lay unconscious, the sphere dark and dormant. Lyrana released me slowly, her hands trembling. "It is done," she said. "Your timeline cannot be erased now." I let out a long breath. "So what happens next?" "Whatever you choose," she answered. "You are free." I looked at her, really looked. The woman who chased me across space, who carried guilt heavier than gravity, who risked everything to give me a choice instead of taking one away. I said carefully, "I'd like to see what the future looks like with you not apologizing every 5 minutes. I can reduce it to every 10. Progress." Her ears curved in a way I'd learned meant she was smiling. We left the archive together, walking side by side toward the ship waiting in the docking bay. For once, I didn't feel like the universe was dragging me somewhere. I felt like I was choosing the path myself. Maybe fate had been rewritten once. Maybe it could be rewritten again. But this time, it would be on my terms, with someone who had fought just as hard to protect my life as I had. As the ship doors closed behind us and the engines hummed to life, I realized something simple and startling. I wasn't the same warrior who started this journey. And that was okay.